Hello, my name is Austin Lugar, and this is The Real Deal. I can't believe I'm sitting with perhaps the biggest name in crime fiction today, Michael Connelly. He has won virtually every single mystery award possible. The critics and fans love him, and it seems that every single book he keeps getting better and better. It's truly a remarkable feat. And also, to top it all off, he acted in the season premiere of Castle this year. So, what was it like to meet Nathan Fillion?
It was fun. He's a nice guy. I think in that kind of situation, the concern is that I'm a complete amateur at this, and they want to and they don't want you to be intimidated, and so they go to a great extent to make you feel comfortable. Okay. So he hung around with me a lot, and I think that was so it wouldn't be like he'd swoop in when we were doing the scene, and I'd be like starstruck. So played cards with him for a little while, talked to him about writing, and then we shot the scene. So it ended up, I feel, to work pretty good. You know, I felt pretty comfortable.
So how did they approach you to be on the show?
It was just one of those things where one of the executive producers contacted my Hollywood agent, the guy who sells my books and so forth to Hollywood, and it came through him.
Now, I heard a rumor, you can debunk this now if you want, that you helped write that scene?
That is a rumor that's wrong.
Okay.
It got out there on the internet, and it wasn't. In fact, it was quite remarkable that, you know, they give me the script, and it's an accurate script. In other words, it references a short story I wrote accurately. And so it told me, whoever wrote the script, which happened to be the creator of the show, Andrew Marlowe, that he was reading my stuff, because it didn't even come out of a novel. It came out of, you know, a collection of short stories in which I contributed. Yeah,
excellent. Now, this isn't your first kind of venture into television. Can you talk to us about LevelNine?
Sure. I mean, it was my first venture on that side of the camera.
Oh, yeah.
About 10 years ago, I was co-creator of a TV show that had a very short shelf life. They made 12 episodes, and I think they aired 5 originally. It seems to be an endless rotation on Sci-Fi. Whenever they need a filler, they have it's called LevelNine, a LevelNine marathon for about 12 hours.
What is the show about?
It's interesting that it's on Sci-Fi, because as it started out, it was going to be about a federal crime squad that specializes in internet crime and using the internet, and was a fly team that could go anywhere where there was a crime attributed to the internet. And my co-creator was a guy I worked with at the LA Times. We wanted it to be really accurate and use real forensics and so on and so forth. But we weren't in that world. We were outsiders, and we had this good idea, and we got to go ahead and we wrote the script, and then the show was produced by other people who had the experience, and it slowly in the 12 episodes moved towards science fiction, where they were inventing things and so forth. And so it was a show that had a certain idea behind it, and then in practice or execution it veered away from that.
Okay, so how did you get started with all of that? I mean, you write a book a year, if not 2. I mean, how did you find time to start a TV show?
I don't know. Like any writer wants to be challenged, and I feel like I've, if not climbed to the top of the mountain, I'm pretty high up on the mountain in the world of publishing, and so I'm looking for other mountains to climb. I'd love to, write a movie that gets made and done well. I'd love to write TV shows and so forth. Right now I'm writing a pilot for CBS.
Oh, really?
That if things go well and they like it and so forth, and be on the air next year. And it's just, ways, on one level it's a challenge, and you always got to challenge yourself. On the other, it actually helps my writing of books when I write in a different way or style, a different form. And obviously screenwriting is quite different from writing books, and so it's a good back and forth.
Well, can you tell us all what the pilot is about, or is it?
The one I'm writing now is called Apex, and it's about a Los Angeles Police Department squad that is called in for the biggest cases to go after apex predators, which are the top of the food chain when it comes to criminals, and it's criminals that have a repeat aspect to their crimes. They're going to keep killing, stealing, whatever the crime is. They're going to keep doing it until stopped, and that's kind of the definition of an apex predator in the world of the police. And so it's a specialized unit that goes after those kind of criminals.
That sounds amazing. If it gets greenlit, will you stay on as a writer, or do you have to come back to your novel life?
Well, I have to do both. I mean, I learned from that LevelNine experience that you can't mail it in, you can't create it and then it'll go away and hope that your vision will remain intact. And so I would like to keep this one intact. It's closer to my creative heart because it's LAPD. And so I would definitely keep a hand in some way, in some large way, I think. And what's good is that they're interested in that. My profile is quite different now than it was 10 years ago with LevelNine. And they kind of had an attitude back then was, you know, we know what we're doing. Thanks for this idea, let us take it. This time they understand that I have a certain, I don't know, creative voice, if you will, and they do want me to be involved.
Okay, that's excellent. Now I heard you've also written a screenplay, like a feature-length film for the Equalizer. Is that true?
Yeah, I had a partner on that, and we wrote adapting that old television show into a movie. As far as I know, nothing's happening with that.
Okay.
Like whatever, 80% of Hollywood projects, it's on a shelf somewhere, and it was done for the Weinstein Company, which is in not good shape right now. So I don't think they're going to be making any Equalizer movies anytime soon.
Yeah. I'm curious. Like I said, you've climbed the mountain for novels. What was it like to work on screenwriting? Because it's such a different way to write a screenplay.
Well, it is, you know, it's a cliche to say it, but you flex completely different muscles, even though you are writing and you are creating. And so it's I think it's more of a craft because there's a certain form and so forth. And you know, when I write a book, it's unlimited. I can write a 600-page book if I want. I can write a 300-page book. But a screenplay for a movie, you know, they're very strict in the page counts they want and things like that. It's also a group effort, even if you're the only screenwriter. When I've taken screenwriting jobs, like say the Equalizer, my partner and I would work together, and then we'd have constantly show different drafts and outlines and so forth to the people involved in the producers and so forth, and it just seemed like there's constantly meetings where we were taking notes from 6 or 7 people, and some of them were extremely smart and some of them weren't, and you got to kind of balance that and go back and put your heads together again and write. It's so different from writing a book where you basically go in a room and it's you against the computer and that's it. You know, of course you get editing and so forth, but that doesn't come till you're done.
Absolutely.
You know.
Now, when you first started working with this, did you look at other screenplays, for example, or what was your kind of look into this new medium of sorts?
Oh yeah, what happened was early on I got with my first book. Let's see, it was like 92, 93. I sold my first 2 books as a package to Paramount Studios, and they really liked the second book. That was the one they thought they would actually make a movie of. Of course, nothing ever happened. And so my agent got me a good deal where I got to write the screenplay of the first book. And since I had never done it before, they had me working with a director, and I would go to his house almost every morning, and we'd talk about how to make this transition from book to screenplay, and then I'd go home and write. And so it was kind of like on-the-job training with a teacher, and that was my first screenwriting effort. And that got me into the Writers Guild, and a lot of good things came from that, except the movie never came. And to this day, it's not been made. What's interesting, over the summer, I was asked to rewrite the script that was written at the same time on my second book.
Oh, really?
So it took only about 15 years for them to come back around and said, hey, you created this character, didn't you?
Yeah.
Maybe you know something about this character, and why don't you take a whack at this script that's been on the shelf for, I think at that point, the last rewrite was 12 years earlier. So I rewrote that, and that's making the rounds now. That's a Harry Bosch story, and you know, you never know what will happen.